Can you give us your thoughts as to what the defense is going to look like this year? I think if it's going to be better, it's going to be marginal.
Well, it's a lot different than what we thought it was going to look like about a month ago.
Very true.
Yes, it is. I think, although maybe not. Like the thing with the Cravens thing, purely from a football standpoint, I'm sure we'll talk about it more from all the other standpoints in a second, is I think the Shazer Everett's really good. At least like for a player of his, experience in the league. Like this is a guy in his second year who was drafted as a corner. They switch him to safety, and he's shown in his opportunities that seems to be a pretty good football player. We'll see with a much bigger sample size of starting at least the first 4 games of the season, it looks like, and possibly being the full-time starter moving forward. He can maintain that level, but everything we've seen from Shazer Everett so far seems to be that he's pretty good. And considering we didn't really know what we had in Cravens either, I don't know how much of a drop-off there's going to be outside of the fact that you obviously lose depth and you probably play Everett less on special teams, and that's a bit of a hit because he was really good there. What the biggest difference in this defense is going to be, though, is it's going to look much, much faster. Between Swearinger, Everett, and Zach Brown, you are looking at like 3 players that are all probably faster than anyone who was playing last year on this defense. So I think the ability to cover more ground is really important, quite obviously, for self-evident reasons. But another thing you guys were saying earlier, without Phil Taylor, that you might get gashed a little bit in the run game. A guy like Zach Brown can help erase some of that. There's only so far you get up into the second level when the guy at the second level is as fast as Zach Brown is. So I do think it'll look faster. How much better that translates to in terms of numbers, production, I don't know. We'll find out, obviously. But I do think there's a significant speed upgrade on this defense, and that combined with the ability to make a few more plays to freelance and I do think translates into a better defense.
Them overall coverage-wise, this looks like a Philadelphia Eagles offense is going to be more pass-centric in Carson Wentz's second season. They bring in Alshon Jeffrey, Torrey Smith. They upgrade the weapons around him. Ryan Matthews is out at running back. They've got a bunch of guys like Wendell Smallwood and Sproles is still there that they can throw the ball to out of the backfield. I think you're going to see Wentz throwing the ball a lot on Sunday. What do you think there?
I think so, too. It makes a lot of sense. It seems like that's what they want to do as a team. Honestly, teams that run the ball are going to scare more against the Redskins than teams that are looking to throw it. Because I do think that at the corners they're pretty good. Breland, look, he had a great camp last year and then didn't have the best season, but he had another really good camp this year. Josh Norman feels great in this defense. He feels like he can do what he did a couple years ago in Carolina, where he's got a little bit more freedom to jump routes and things like that, to go be the playmaker that they signed him to be. And then as we just said, Swearinger and Everett on the back end, with the range they have because of their speed, it seems like this defense is going to be much better coverage-wise, even though, the base corners are the same in Breland Norman. And then Kendall Fuller's been pretty good in camp, solid, I would say, but he looks like a completely different player from last year in the slot. And obviously, you guys remember last year, he wasn't ready to go, and Deshaun Phillips was so bad that they wound up bringing Fuller back in, week 3 or 4, even before he was really ready, before they wanted to, because Phillips was just so bad in the slot. They wound up trading Phillips during training camp. So, I think the teams that are going to run it scare me a lot more. They obviously do present a challenge with their running backs, and I'll be curious to see who winds up covering those guys. Is it Zach Brown? Do they try to use Brown's athleticism and speed in coverage? Do they put Mason Foster out in coverage? I believe there'll be a little bit of a split between those guys covering running backs, or do they try to use, obviously, as we said, Everett used to be a corner. So he's got some coverage skills that are a little different than most safeties. So do they use him in coverage against a running back and, say, put Brown or Foster on a tight end? They've got some options, which is nice. It's just I don't know at this point how we're supposed to feel about any of them. Like, having options is good unless they're all bad options, and we don't know whether these options are good or bad yet because we haven't played a real game.
All right, we're talking to Craig Hoffman, our Skins beat reporter. Give us the latest on Ryan Anderson. I'm just so scared reading about this weakness in his shoulder, and he's been out since week 1. But it's my understanding he's been practicing the last couple of days. Does that mean that's kind of the strength is coming back, and I can back off my anxiety about that, or where are we with this?
Yeah, I mean, he's been a full participant in practice, and typically if you're a full participant in practice, that means you're on track to play. So
Good.
it's pretty interesting that he all of a sudden seems to snap back into it and be good. But I guess that's kind of how it works with the nerve issue is once that nerve regenerates back to where it's supposed to be, the strength comes back pretty quickly. So it looks like he's all right for now. I think we'll know more today. Is like the past two practices have been kind of weird. They're almost extra practices here with week one and no game on Sunday and the way they did the schedule around Labor Day. Normally they're off on Tuesdays. So this is kind of their start of their regular week today in terms of their routine. And, they haven't worked on, third downs or anything like that yet, any of these specialized situations. So today is kind of really their what is typically their first practice of the week. And so I think if he practices fully today, like, that should put him on track to play Sunday. And the same is true for everybody else, too. They had nobody who was even just limited in practice yesterday. Spencer Long, Josh Doxson, those guys were all in fully. So that's probably obviously really exciting news for Redskins fans.